Hey, yo, what up,
Hello.
what up, what up, what up? What's up, my people?
Welcome to the Habitual Podcast.
Yes, this is David Usaida.
And I'm Emily Usaida.
And as always, my people, this podcast exists to be a catalyst for your self-awareness. Our hope, our goal, our everything is to point you back to Jesus.
To Christ.
So don't be feeling a certain way. If you feel a certain way about us talking about Jesus, come find me on Sunday. I'll be at both services so I can pray for you at the altar.
Jesus Cristo.
And I just want to, my life just got shattered because
Why? What happened?
I've always loved the Febreze plugins. And with our guest, which we'll introduce him here in a second, I mean, our guest just kind of ruined my life.
He said, that's actually going to kill you.
I love those things. It's an easy way, so I don't need to be cleaning up my room. I can just plug one in, and it keeps the room smelling fresh, no matter fresh, no matter how dirty my room is. But now it's like, come to find out, that stuff is not good for you.
You know what? A cotton ball isn't good for you. Like pretty much everything is going to have something.
Cotton balls either? That's the same thing.
No, I was just kidding.
Oh, I thought
that.
I was about to say, I'm like,
unless you're on Elf and you eat them.
I found out romaine lettuce ain't good for you either, or iceberg lettuce.
Oh, stop.
Is this true?
Am I allowed to talk yet?
Yeah, I mean, might as well.
Wait.
All right.
Hold on, guys. Okay. We're still bantering.
Okay. All right.
So I got some chickens today.
Yeah, you got some chickens.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we'll introduce our guest. That was all the banter that I had.
We want to introduce our guest for today. Somebody near and dear. All of our guests are near and dear to us. This guy, we used to be next door neighbors. Mm-hmm. And we would walk past each other all the time.
I remember the first time I was like, hey, that guy goes to our church.
Yeah. And
he's power walking in front of our house.
And we always see him walking, up and down maybe 6 to 8 times up on the road. And it made us feel very shameful. And so, but
we're in there on the couch eating Pringles.
Yeah, frags. And so we're just with this big old plate of like Panda Express, and this man is walking up and down the street like 6 times. So it's but we are blessed and we're honored to have our friend Justin Willoughby here. He is the co-host of the 600 Pounds Down podcast. Yeah. His story is bananas, and we are just so humbled that you're with us.
Dude, it's going to be awesome.
Yes,
First off, I did not mean to make you feel...
Bro,
well, I did.
It's too late.
I made it. Me walking, I look at everybody's house and say, you should be out here. You should be out here. You should be out here. And I just start throwing insults out there. Just play it.
Peeping Tom in our window saying, come walk the street with me.
What are you all eating? That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, right. You're like, I wish I was in there.
That's right.
That's cool.
On the other side. No, it's great to be here, guys. Thank you. I've actually listened to your podcast. I think it's amazing. The Habitual Podcast.
The Habitual Podcast.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm actually here. Like I was walking in, I'm like, dang, I feel like a celebrity because like y'all just meet me at the door, you take me in. I'm like, where are we going? I thought I was backstage somewhere.
You met our butler at Pennyworth?
Twice.
That's his name.
We need to do that intro, like that TV show where all the crew like dances and they like walk through the middle of them. What is that?
Oh, with Jimmy Fallon?
Yes.
Have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen that particular part of it, but
yeah.
We just need to get our friends up here just to do the intro, and then we're like, okay, y'all can go home. The guest is here.
Also, I just put in my mouth a cough drop, and I forgot that we're recording. I didn't think that through.
You better keep the wrapper. Spit that out.
I don't want to hear all that. Or how many calories in there, baby? Uh-oh. Cough drop.
Uh-oh.
Good skip.
Uh-oh.
It's all natural.
Just play it.
It's all natural.
He eats cough drops like candy, and it's so gross.
That's okay.
I can't do it. Okay, so who is Justin Willoughby? How about you start us off?
Wow. That's a deep question. So, like,
that is.
We need an origin story.
All right. This is good. So, I'm not a Texas native, guys.
No.
I'm not from this area, right?
Traitor.
I'm a northerner.
And it's okay.
It's okay. You still love me?
Absolutely.
Hey, he's a Yankee,
if anyone's going to know suffering from being from the North, it's me.
Okay. So, my brother. So, I grew up in Pennsylvania, small town Bradford.
Let's go.
It's a really small town. We're talking like 8,000 people.
Represent.
So, when I moved here, I was like, this is culture shock, bro. And I was like, oh my
How
gosh.
so?
It was just so, I mean, there was like traffic everywhere. Like the highway. You see how people drive out there? No offense, Texas. I love you. But like, you see how they drive out there?
You know what? It's all the people
Safe.
from California. That's what I'm saying. No, I'm just
like
kidding.
migrating over here? Come on, California.
I'm
What
just
are you
kidding.
giving us?
I'm just kidding.
No, I grew up in Pennsylvania all my life and moved here about, goodness, almost 3 years ago now. But
Crazy.
who I was in Pennsylvania, I was a guy that basically was known for his weight loss story.
Mm.
So I was like a local celebrity in the community. Like everybody loved me. Shout out to my roots, Bradford, Pennsylvania. We got a woot woot somewhere.
Woo woo woo
Okay,
woo woo.
thank you.
I spent a lot of
We
time
have
in
a
Lancaster.
button,
Lancaster. Yeah, you had that button. Like you have a button that says wow 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 or something
but
like
it's
that.
over there. We can't reach
I can't
it.
reach it.
Can't. Well, just know it's there. Like
Yeah.
we want to say
Wow,
it.
wow,
Thank
wow.
you. Shout out to Bradford, Pennsylvania. So when I was in Pennsylvania, I grew up normal, like all the way through schools and stuff like that. Had some friends, went to, just had the normal life, right? Like just cool. That's the little boring part of the story. Fast forward a little bit, I was a teenager, got to be like 14 years old, and all of a sudden, one night, I got out of bed and I thought I was having a heart attack. This was like 14. So I'm like, oh my gosh, my chest is feeling weird, my heart's racing. So I go wake my dad up. Dad, wake up, I'm having a heart attack. And he's like, I probably would have been dead if I was having a heart attack because he didn't wake up right away, right? But
Oh, no.
and so he's like, no, you're not having a heart attack, you're fine. And I'm like, no, I have to go to the hospital. So I'm freaking out. He's like, all right, take you to the hospital. So I go to the hospital. I find out that I'm having anxiety attacks pretty bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at a young age. Y'all ever had
Yeah.
a panic attack or anxiety attack?
Oh yeah.
Freak
From a
absolutely.
very young age, it's terrifying,
Yeah, it's like chest.
and it's very physical too.
Yes. You literally think you're dying. Like you get all this fear going on. Anyway, it happened to me the first time. I was sent home from the ER at that point. 2 days later, I go back again because I feel it again. I'm like, something's going on. This does not feel normal. So I
Yeah.
started going, I went back to the hospital again. They admitted me and they said, yeah, it's really bad anxiety. They put me on some drugs, okay, some prescriptions, like Paxil. We're talking Paxil, okay?
Yeah.
We're talking. That's what we're talking about.
Ibuprofen. No,
Yeah,
just
there you go. So literally four different medications to try to control the anxiety. That's how bad it became. And so, but from there, I also had a coping mechanism on top of the anxiety. Should I not hit the table?
No.
No,
I
you're
was
fine.
just making sure. I have this like fear that we're not going to be recording, so I check the red
I
light
got
over
you.
there.
I was like hitting the table as I talk, because I talk with my hands.
You're
and all of a
good.
sudden,
That's
I'm like,
fine.
oh, you guys hear that?
No, you can't.
Okay. All right. So I end up like getting those four medications, but I also had a coping mechanism, and that was food. Like I was highly addicted to food.
Hello.
Yes. Hello, beautiful.
I know that.
Like I'm talking like boom chicka wow wow. Okay. Like I want to like
All American buffet.
there you go all day long. I loved all of it, man. I just my family, we grew up poor, or I grew up poor. I didn't really have anything. My dad was kind of like call him like a homemaker, but he took an early retirement because he had some issues with his back and his legs and stuff like that. So he had to he wouldn't be able to work too long anyway. My mom was working, but we were living on one income. So that meant like the nutritious, most amazing food selection in the world. We're talking like hot dogs, baby.
Yeah.
We're talking white buns. We're talking.
It's whatever's the cheapest.
Gotcha. Yeah. Like ramen noodles a day.
Sodium galore.
Yes. Let's go. That's what I loved. And all that stuff. And so whatever we could get off government assistance, we would get. Whatever we could get off my mom's paycheck, we would get. So it just wasn't healthy, right? Which I have a problem with, by the way. Like if this is what we're stooping to in our country.
Right.
If somebody can't afford something, let's go get unhealthy food. Like
Right.
let's not teach how to eat healthier foods. Let's just go get whatever you want. And the sodas and do we say soda or pop around here?
I say soda.
Soda
Or purple drink.
Coke.
purple.
Black drink,
I never said that.
blue drink.
Okay.
Coke.
Okay, you say Coke. Oh yeah, Texas thing's a Coke. That's
Yeah.
Southern.
Well, soda.
Or Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
I'll take a
yes.
Dr. Pepper, even though you want like a Sprite.
Or Big Red.
Yeah.
a
well,
big red.
I always say soda
Yeah.
because I feel like if I say Coke, it's a Coke.
I got you.
You know? But
Okay.
like soda, not pop. I've
Okay.
never called it pop.
We digress. But
Yeah.
those are important
I feel the
details, though.
arthritis building up as I say pop.
Those are some important details. No, but I took everything, man. I would just gorge myself on food. I would literally take like a half a loaf of bread, have that in a meal, put some butter and peanut butter on that. I mean, you can make that thing thick with peanut butter and jelly. Like
Yeah.
I'm talking like 2-inch, 3-inch, 4-inch sandwiches, right? Just with peanut butter and jelly on it. I would just eat a ton of food. But I would go to food because it brought me this fulfillment, this like peace, this I feel good about this, right? So comforted me during the anxiety moments, and it became like my best friend. And so I would always say to, different interviews I've been on, I thought I would just marry food one day because like it's just we had that relationship, and but the truth is it never really satisfied me. Just like with anything in life besides Jesus, right? We think other things satisfy us, but they truly don't. They just leave us longing for more.
Very true.
So I had to come to terms with that eventually. Like, so that was happening. The anxiety was happening, and the anxiety was terrible because that was like paralyzing fear. Okay. So I would sit down because if I stood up, my heart would race because of the adrenaline. And it would also skip on me. I would get chest pains. So I'm like, I'm dying every time I stand up. Like, that's how I felt.
It's crazy.
So at this point, were you overweight?
I was overweight. I was a larger kid, probably double, triple the size of my friends. I probably, in second or third grade, I was like 210 pounds already.
Wow.
I was big. Yeah, I was big. But I already had like bad food habits and different things like that, right? And wasn't really encouraged to exercise and stuff. But
so did it come down genetically as well?
Yeah. My mom's side of the family is overweight.
Overweight, yeah.
So I did have some of that going on. And then of course, just lack of knowledge on what to eat and why it's important not to overindulge or eat too much sugar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there was that element to it. So I was already overweight. That's a good little bit of information to put in there. I was already overweight, and now this was just exasperating that, right? So here I am with a big food addiction. Here I am coping with anxiety, and now I'm just sitting down. What happens when you sit down? When you sit all the time, eat your bunch of food, right? Now you're just gorging calories, and you're not burning what you're putting into your body, because I take in all these calories, which is supposed to be energy to keep your body thriving and going. It should, but here I am overeating, overindulging, finding comfort in it, not moving my body. Now I'm ballooning up to an extreme amount of weight. That's the issue here, right? So eventually, several years went by. I was coping with the anxiety. I was on some medications. I got off the medications and I'm like, these things stink. I didn't like them. Now, I will say, I do not endorse just suddenly getting off your medications unless you talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
But I was a rebel.
Yeah, right. I've done that a time or two.
Do you feel like they were making you think and feel a certain way about yourself, or what? Like, what do you think? What were kind of some of the effects that you feel like it made you want to just
The
get off of
medications.
the medications?
So I just wasn't myself anymore.
I feel like a lot of people feel like a zombie or feel, like cloudy minds and stuff. I have a question, kind of like to go back a little bit. So I'm just trying to put the pieces together here. So you were 13, 14, right? Overweight, experiencing panic attacks and coping with food.
Yes.
So did you ever discover what the source of the panic and anxiety was from? Because it probably, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so you were coping with food, but that's not the reason you were, you know what I mean?
Yes. That's a really, that's a pretty.
Like it was storing in your body
Yeah.
for you to start panicking.
Yeah. I think so actually what's interesting, I'm in the process of identifying that currently with a counselor.
Oh,
So,
wow. Yeah.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, because this stuff, even
Good
though
for
you
you.
don't have the manifestation anymore as so much of panic, I mean, I still get a few here and there, very, very, very rarely.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's always good to kind of chase back and kind of retrace your steps and be
Absolutely.
like, what caused this to happen?
Yeah. Why did you have to cope in the first place?
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think recognizing some thoughts, what I knew back then, going through some counseling for them, my parents had, it's amazing. You want to talk about Jesus transforming lives? They have an amazing marriage today, but like when I was younger, they argued all the time. We're talking like pretty much 2 to 3 times a week, as much as I remember. It could have been a little less, could have been a little more, but I just remember them really not being happy and always arguing. I think I was really afraid of them getting a divorce when I was a young child. And I would always be that mediator between the two.
So I was going to ask that. Do you have siblings?
I had a brother.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's okay. He loved Jesus. He's cool.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes. So was he older or younger than
He was
you?
older than me.
He was older. So you're the baby. So you
Yes.
probably, I feel like that kind of takes on like also like maybe a little bit of peacemaker middle child stuff.
Yeah. That I would be like, I would do anything I could to get them to make up though. Like I would, dad's mad at mom, so I would go to dad, be like, Mom didn't mean it. Mom didn't mean it. Go to dad,
yeah.
Dad, mom, dad didn't mean it. Just trying to get that. I would even lie and say, Mom said she was really sorry.
Yeah, just
Hey,
to have peace.
Yeah.
That in itself will do it.
Yeah, it sure will.
You
until
know
they
what I
talk
mean?
to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll cause some anxiety
It
and
will,
panic in
yeah.
a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just curious if we knew why you were coping. But
No, that's good. And I think there was some of that and some of it too, without making my parents sound bad.
of course.
Because they're probably, hi mom, probably gonna listen to this. Hi dad.
Hey, there's no shame.
that's right.
We're all a little broken here,
That's
aren't
right.
A little.
we? Or a lot.
a lot of it.
A lot of little.
A lot of little broken. So yeah, there's a source of it, and I think that started it. And I think that just kind of was traumatic for my life, right?
For sure.
And so I think that just kind of festers up within you. Actually, there's a lot of science on that now, how trauma really impacts a person
Absolutely.
and causes a lot of issues beyond just like physical stuff, but like even addictions and things like that, as we know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, David, you were just on the 600 Pounds Down podcast, which shout out, whoop, whoop.
Woo woo.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
Go
you were sharing.
follow, like, subscribe.
Yes, you got
all
it.
that
Leave a
stuff.
review.
Comment,
That's
review.
right, all of it.
600 pounds down.
Yes, but David was just on there and he was sharing his story, which I thought he shared very, very well. And but it was a deeper issue beyond the struggle that you had.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
I mean, which is I think is real, and we have to recognize that trauma has roots. And so it's important that we unpack those roots to truly heal from that. And that's what I'm really trying to do now.
That's
because
good.
honestly, I have issues currently with like driving in Texas. Like I came from 2-lane highways, baby, not 4. Okay.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
like I'm not even used to that.
You're like, I'm going to take the back roads.
That's what I feel. And then, I just have issues with that. And I have issues with public speaking now, which is crazy. I never used to. I used to speak in public all the time. I was a pastor at one point,
Right.
speaking in front of people
Yeah.
every week.
Yeah.
And
I feel like this just like dinged off, but I feel like that is the enemy trying to silence you. You know what I mean?
preach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not someone that goes and finds a devil in every corner, but what you said, that sounds like the
Yeah.
enemy is trying to silence you
I
up.
see it. I see it. And I want to get to that point in this story.
Yeah, keep going.
Because what you're going to hear about Justin here shortly, like, this is all my weight loss story, which is great, but there's a whole new avenue, a whole new person he is today. And I think it's really important to share that and just encourage people. God's never done with us.
No.
Yeah, for sure.
Amen.
So where do we leave off? I was talking about the medications.
You got off your medications.
Yes. And ended up just gaining weight though, because I was so addicted to food. And I was already a big kid. I was already having weight issues. So here we are ballooning up even more. And now we're getting so large that I get homeschooled because I didn't want to go to school anymore because I don't know you guys, but the kids can be brutal.
Oh, yeah. I know firsthand.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And it just, I would walk up steps and they'd be behind me laughing at my butt, like making jokes about that. And I would always wait till everybody passed me so I could walk up the stairs after everybody got up there. That's how like miserable it was at times. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like every day, but just a certain group of kids would be like saying something.
But just a handful of moments will make you feel like that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that was rough, but yeah, I ballooned up even more, had to be homeschooled. And then finally, because my parents were on assistance, it had something to do with the insurance. I needed to see a doctor. And I haven't seen a doctor in probably, I don't even know if it was over a year. I think it was like 2 years.
And how old were you at this point?
I was 15 or 16. Yeah, 16
Okay.
probably. So I saw a doctor but I couldn't just go to a doctor. I was so large. I become so big. I couldn't walk very far. And so they took me, my parents had a Oldsmobile Intrigue vehicle, which is a full-size vehicle, just so everybody's aware of that. Pretty good size, 4-door. So they also had to give me a wheelchair because I couldn't walk very far.
Wow.
Like, what just happened? Like, how did this happen, right?
Yeah.
And so they put me, I remember my dad helping me get up to the car, which is probably about 20 to 30 feet away from the door. And I sat down and he had to like literally push me in to fit and push my foot over and hurry up to slam the door so the foot wouldn't pop out of the car, which is crazy, right? So they got me to the doctor's office. It was after hours. They closed down the office because I was so ashamed of going out. And so they wheeled me into the doctor's office and they ended up, the doctor saw me first time in some time. And he just like, his face was just like, it dropped.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my gosh. He didn't say that, but you could tell his facial expression. Like, I wasn't stupid, So I was ashamed of myself. And he said, we gotta get you some help. I don't want help though. I'm a stubborn teenager. I feel good. I like my food. I like, I didn't care. And
comfortable in your uncomfort.
Yeah, I didn't want to change.
In your discomfort.
If we could stop there for a second, because that's kind of where I was kind of wanting to go to, is in the midst of all this weight gain, what was through all of that, what was going through your head? Like, what were some intimate thoughts that you were having, or intimate conversations that you were having with yourself?
I was blind, man. I didn't, excuse me.
You're excused.
I cleared that throat, bro. So I was blind. I didn't see. I had insecurities for sure. Like, I didn't like myself.
Yeah.
I didn't love myself. I thought I was a ball of fat. I thought I was gross. I had very low self-esteem, very insecure about who I was. Never going to get a girlfriend, all those things. It was bad. I had to see myself good. But at the same time, I was blind to how big I was getting. So there came a point where I'm like, I didn't recognize that until they weighed me in at one point. Like, that's what I'm saying. And we'll fast forward in a second to that. But like, yeah, the thoughts, they were just like, I didn't really have self-esteem. I didn't really care about who I was.
Were you angry at all?
Was I angry? Not necessarily. I think, more blind and not recognizing how severe this has become.
Yeah.
I also think about 16, your prefrontal cortex is not developed.
I like to think mine was.
Yeah. So I feel like you don't think as like logically at 16.
Yeah. That's
you know what I
true.
mean? And like, I think as kids, we still think we're invincible.
I see that. I felt that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I felt that. I mean, risk of death? What?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Risk of
Yeah.
getting sick? What? That's for people on TV,
Yeah.
But it all became reality when they sent an ambulance. I thought I literally was on those TV shows, you see on TLC or Discovery Channel. So they would come to my door. It was like an ambulance crew. There was like 3, and a fire department team literally came to my house.
Oh, snap.
A big team. And they knocked on my door, and I'm like, I'm not going. What are you trying to do here? Mom's like, you have to go. Like, she was getting mad at me. Like, you have to go. And I said, no.
Did CPS ever get involved? Not that it was your mom or dad, but out of concern for.
Let's be, honestly, it will reflect parenting, right? It will reflect parenting. And I think they take ownership of that.
Mom, I've never met you, but I love you, and I'm so sorry.
That's right. I do feel that, and I think on their defense, I was a brat.
Yeah.
I was a ridiculous, manipulating kid. Mm-hmm. And I would not speak to my parents for days if they didn't let me do something. Mm-hmm. I would throw a tantrum and they wouldn't buy me something, even though I knew they didn't have the money to do things. I wasn't good.
So did your brother pass like later in life?
Several years ago, he did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
I still had a brother
when
then.
You were,
He was very easygoing. He was chill. He actually had, I think it was autism. He had a mental disability. So like he was just very chill about stuff, but he would get worked up sometimes. Like There's a ridiculous story. One time, him and I were fighting, and he threw a cat on my bare back, like a literal cat. He, like,
That's
picked it up.
crazy.
It was amazing. That
Savage.
Was like, that was a savage move. It was really beautiful.
Yeah.
I look back and be like, that was great. That was great.
Bonding moment right there.
Shout out to you, bro. But yeah, parenting. I think I manipulated them a lot, and I think they felt like they needed to cater to me a lot, and I think that. I became sometimes more the parent in the relationship, like controlling things. And I think, not that that's an excuse, but I feel like that played a part.
Yeah.
So we ended up, the ambulance came to my house. They're sitting, like, waiting me to come out. They put me on a gurney, take me out. It was embarrassing. I'm like, there's like literally 10 to 15 people here taking me out of my house.
Yeah.
So, like, things you would not think that would happen to you, right?
So was this after the doctor and he whenever he was like, you need help?
It was like 2 days after I saw the doctor. Because
Okay.
he was like, you have to do something about this.
And they had like a treatment plan they were going to take you to?
Well, they were going to investigate one. Yeah. So they sent
Gotcha.
me to a bigger city in Pennsylvania, right? So I'm from a small town, Bradford, Pennsylvania. But then we're going to go to Pittsburgh because now we're
Okay.
talking like big city
I know
stuff.
that
Right.
city.
Yes, see,
Yep.
represent. So they take me to Pittsburgh by ambulance. Here I am in the hospital, and here they are weighing me in. I just need a drum roll because we can't really do this without a drum roll. Okay, that's enough. All right.
Okay.
No, so here's my mom at the bottom of the bed looking up at me. Here I am laying down, just kind of like sitting there, oxygen hose in my nose. Frayed, a bed sore, just already like I feel like my body's aching already. Probably wasn't a bed sore, but definitely hurt. So
Yeah.
I'm setting the
Could have
tone here.
been.
It could have been. I mean, you're sitting there. It's like a 4-hour trip. They had to change ambulance crews in mid-trip because I was so uncomfortable, and it was just bad. So
When you think about the bouncing
oh my
and,
gosh, yep.
That's...
Yep. I mean, I couldn't do anything myself. So it got me in the hospital. Mom sitting at the bottom of the bed. Now and she said, honey, how much you weigh? And I said, how much, Mom? Kind of like just wondering. And she said, you weigh 799 pounds. She whispered it, 799 pounds. And I was like,
What? Yeah.
put a beep here. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
What a
deserves a
shock.
damn.
And you... Stop it. David's just waiting to cuss over here.
I'm not. That's not a cuss.
I'm just kidding. So that is wild. So you had zero clue.
Zero clue. I had no idea. Like I was blind. I didn't see myself getting that big. I just thought like I was a normal kid that just had to sit down a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't play basketball or
Right.
football with my friends. I could play a mean video game. I'll tell you what. Like I was solid at that. But that required me to just sit there, right? I was a king on ICQ, like, AOL Instant Messenger and all those
Yeah.
things, right? Like I
Yeah.
love that stuff. But I could do all that, but I just wasn't a normal kid, but I didn't recognize that I was really limited. I couldn't do as much as everybody else. When I was weighed in at that amount, when my mom said that, I'm like, my eyes were somewhat open at that point.
Yeah. How did you respond?
Like, I didn't know. So first I'm like, I don't know how to respond to this, right? Like, what do I do? I sit here and I could sit here and I didn't know, honestly. I really thought, was I dreaming? Is this for real?
Yeah.
Am I going to go home tomorrow? Is this because it somewhat felt normal?
Because you knew that you were a big guy. You just didn't know that it was that.
Yeah.
Extreme. Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you don't see, it's like you're in addiction and you just don't see what's happening.
Right.
That's the issue. Like you're so oblivious to everything happening around
Very
you.
true.
You
Very
know?
true.
So,
And I think when you just grow gradually, it's just like, if you get a dog and then you leave and come back and the dog's grown and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize.
yes.
But if you were with the dog the entire time, or
yeah.
does that
You
make
see
sense?
it,
Like
Yeah.
and
you
if
would
you're in the
see
midst
it.
of it, you don't see the dog growing.
Yes,
right?
I think I said it
We
backwards.
take a step back and you like come back after 2-3 weeks of a puppy. You're like,
Yeah. Whoa.
bro, you grew like 2 inches. What the
Yeah.
heck,
Yeah.
So it was part of you. So you did not realize.
Yeah. I didn't. That was part because I wouldn't even want to look at myself because that's how insecure I thought about myself. So when she said that, I was just processing it all. But then, like as time went on, they kept me in the hospital in Pittsburgh. They admitted me, and they said, "Man, you got to stay here for a little bit." It was in August 2003, and so here I am. in Pittsburgh. My parents, my brother. I actually did have a girlfriend at that point. Like, I was a big dude. I guess
Player.
That's what I'm talking about.
You was a big dude?
I was a big dude, bro. And she liked the big
let's
dude.
go.
Player.
I was sitting on anyone who tried to mess with her, okay? But no,
Love
that
the
was
jokes.
yeah. Don't edit that out. Don't edit that out.
We'll leave
Come on.
that.
Yeah, come on. So I had to process it all.
Right.
And I had to understand, like, what am I doing here? And this is where I think faith became more of a reality for me, because I knew about Jesus when I was 14. Now this is 2 years after meeting, like, kind of knowing about Jesus, right? So 14 is when I started having the anxiety attacks pretty bad. And that's when, like, I kind of got into faith type things, because, like, my mom had friends who were Christians and she kind of shared a little bit with me. I didn't have a good relationship, dude. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna look at pornography, but look at my Bible later. Or I'm going to swear with my friends and just do whatever I want to do and just act like the world, right? So, like, didn't really do anything for me. Just it was a comfort source through the anxiety.
Yeah.
But it didn't really become an authentic relationship to this, like, kind of this moment where, like, the start of the process of it.
Absolute desperation.
Yes. So now we're at low points. And now I'm just like, after gathering my thoughts of just what just happened here, it's like, okay, I'm like, I need some help. I need Jesus to intervene here. And I don't remember the words I used. I don't even know if they were proper words, to be honest with you. Like, I just feel like I cried out to God in my own way.
Yeah.
And I happen to know of Jesus at this point. And so I brought my Bible with me because I did have some sort of root started in me, right?
Yeah.
So just to say to everyone listening right now, if you are a minister of the gospel, if you are a person who loves Jesus and you don't think your witnessing is impacting people, seeds are planted.
Let's
True.
go.
Seeds are planted, right?
You knew where to turn when you needed to. You know?
100%. Like, I definitely had the seed planted. I didn't always believe it. I didn't always receive it, but it took root like it's supposed to, you know?
Yeah.
And it followed me for a couple years. And so in the hospital, I remember giving my life over in some way, shape, or form as a 16-year-old at that point, because I don't even know how to say it really. I just say, Jesus, I need you, right? Or I follow you, I'm sorry. All those things. And then I became a perfect Christian. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you give your heart to the Lord and then wake up 600 pounds less the next morning?
That's exactly it. And,
Wow.
and food did no longer contain calories. And
you
all
no
those
longer
things.
you no longer had an addiction.
Nope, that was perfection right then and there.
For anyone that is not a believer, we're totally being sarcastic because
we are?
You were like Tobey Maguire in the first Spider-Man.
Yes.
He was a nerd, and then
And
he
all
woke
of a
up the next
sudden-
day, he got a six-pack,
all
and
of a
he's like
sudden, he's
taking off
like
his
the man.
glasses.
It's like-
because even though we pursue Christ does not mean that we get to forfeit the journey of healing. We got to walk through the muck and the mud. The only difference is he's walking with you.
And
Yes.
that's something that I was talking about with you earlier. Where I'm like, man, like, it's hard to acknowledge that God is faithful and that He's good when all you're doing is just win.
If you've never been through a trial.
If you've never suffered, if you've never gone through some pain, if you've never, it's really hard because you're constantly looking at yourself and saying, it's because I did this, I did this. But when things hit the fan and life becomes so difficult and it's way out of your control, you need something greater than you,
to anchor onto. And,
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched, as time went on, I watched God do a work in my life on a slow basis.
Yeah.
And I say slow because I think it comes down to my reception to that, right? Was I receptive to it? Was I open to the changes He wants to make in me? It's like you want to call it the word sanctification, right? So becoming more like Him in
Yeah.
that process. And it was baby steps, man. Like, I still wanted to see girls. I still wanted to eat food. I still wanted to do all that stuff. Like, it didn't take away my desires for anything.
Yeah.
But it gave me a hope and a confidence knowing that I'm not doing this battle alone anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long were you in the hospital?
Probably about that's fuzzy. I think like 2 to 3 weeks I was in the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah. They did a bunch of tests, had me stay there, tried to get me, I'll say we're close to 2 weeks, trying to keep me to, monitor if there's any issues, right? Because if you're a big dude like that, like there's a lot of things that could happen to you, a lot of potentials.
Yeah.
So I had to be checked out, had sleep apnea tests, blood work, oxygen, all the stuff. Put me on oxygen. I had to be on oxygen from day to day after that for a while. But here's the cool thing. They were going to put me in a rehab center up north somewhere, Erie, Pennsylvania, I think. which is like an hour and a half from Bradford. And they ended up not having any beds for me, which I was like, holler, that's awesome. But I don't want to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I thought, you know what, I can do this. Like I was kind of like, okay, God, you got me. I need to lose fat, obviously. I need to get healthier. I'm going to do this. So they ended up sending me home by ambulance. Bet you that was expensive.
Yeah.
Like,
looking back as an adult now, you're like, ooh.
like, dang, what?
Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, they love me. So as I got home, I had to readjust to life. I had to do some things differently. They gave me an occupational physical therapist to come to my home. They said they had a nurse come to my house, check me out. And now we had the adventure begin. So there's the story. There's what's led up to, there's what's led up to that. There's the oh my gosh, a climactic moment. Justin is almost 800 pounds. Now there's some work to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now there's Jesus and Justin working together to make a better life, right?
Yeah.
So I had to find a new love for who I was because I didn't love myself. Like, I looked at my body, I saw my friends, I compared myself like 99% of people do, right? Like, oh, he looks awesome. He has a great chest. Oh, he looks good. Like that hair, that's amazing. Like he's like all those thoughts go through your head. And I had to, as a teenager, which is even harder to make those thoughts less and less and control those. So I had to come to a term, like I had to start loving myself. I know how to do that. I was like, how do you love yourself? And that was a process all in itself. But, God showed up. He did his thing in my life. He changed my heart more and more. It was that process, not overnight. I wish it was, but I learned so much over the course of, really, it was 4 years and I dropped about 400 pounds. Or 2 years, I'm sorry, 2 years. And I dropped 400 pounds
in 2 years.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So how did that process start? Because I know you didn't just get on a treadmill and run 5 miles a day.
But wouldn't it have been amazing if I did?
Right? That would have been miraculous. And it's crazy that in our minds, we think that it's like we get this inspiration and we're like, we're going to go all in. But I bet it wasn't like that.
No, it started with one step.
Wow.
One step.
Literally one step.
Yep. My first exercise was standing up and sitting back down.
Wow.
My second exercise was taking one step, sitting back down. It was awesome though. Like, cool story. I was in the hospital trying to recover, right? So they brought these really foxy whistle nurses coming in, right? And they're like, "All right, Mr. Willoughby, we're here to walk you." And I was like, sweet.
Like, yeah, you are.
Sweet.
I had a pretty lady on both my arms.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's hilarious.
They are trying to walk me. I didn't get very far, so I wasn't a good date. But they ended up getting me a few steps, probably about 10 steps, and my back just started hurting so bad. My legs started buckling, feeling weird. I had to go back and sit down. But they were really proud of me. I did my job. It was great motivation. So I don't know where they are. I don't know who they are.
We need hot nurses in the world. You do more good than you know.
That's right. Shout out to the hot nurses. Shout out to all nurses, man. They're amazing.
Yes.
For real.
Y'all hot in your own way.
Yeah.
So
I love it. I love the inclusion here.
yeah, it's great.
So
I have to.
I do want to move on to, because I know that the weight loss is a big part of your journey. There's so many other aspects of your life that are just as significant and life-changing. And I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about you pastoring, because that was a very significant point in your life too.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, obviously you were still in this weight loss journey as you transitioned into being a pastor of a church. So where did that start? If you could walk us through, how did that come about?
Yeah. So I ended up losing probably around, in a 8-year period, I lost about 600 pounds is what. So I started becoming more confident since losing that weight. Right. And then I started going to church because, like, as a Christian, like we want to start to know God more.
Absolutely.
And there's a part of reading your Bible, there's a part of praying, but there's also a part of community, having that church, having that gathering of believers with you and like-mindedness. And so I started going to a church that was a non-denominational church. Well, I thought it was. It actually ended up being a Free Methodist church, but they didn't like broadcast their denomination, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, we love Jesus. That's it. Let's do this. And so it was an Open Arms Community Church in Bradford, Pennsylvania. Open Arms is awesome. It was a church that they thought outside the box. Like, they were a church that really loved people and decided to just, like, let's drop religion per se. And religion can be beautiful with
For sure.
everything. Like it's a practice, right? But they dropped the tradition and they said, let's just follow Jesus and let's just love people.
That's cool.
And so I went there the first time and I actually I was greeted like kind of like first time I came to Calvary.
Yeah.
Like I was emotional first time I came to Calvary. Like I was like, this is like, y'all are hugging me too much. Like this is the love just hurt me. Like it was amazing.
Which there's
crying.
a reason for that. And we can get back to that.
I want to hear that soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's an important part because I felt that.
Yeah.
And that actually motivated me to come back again for a second time and a third time. It was beautiful how y'all do that. Anyway, Open Arms is awesome. I started attending that for about a year, maybe 2 years, and then showed an interest in sharing my story up front in front of people. Never thought that would happen. And expressed an interest in maybe pursuing some form of ministry position, which started out with youth leadership, of course.
Always,
Duh.
yeah.
I mean, the young guy in a church, he has to be a youth pastor first, or youth coordinator, whatever they called me back then. So here
It's
I
like
am.
the initiation process.
It was. Is this guy going to take this? Is he going to be okay? And so, we had a great youth group. We grew it. We did great. I managed a team. Like I was part of a team first, but then I started becoming the youth leader over time, which is awesome, right? So I got into more knee deep into the church, into leadership. Became an outreach coordinator, so focused on outreach outside of the church because we want to win people to Jesus. We don't want them to just come to church.
For sure.
We want to actually be the church. And so did that. And then they sent me to be an associate pastor over to a sister church of Open Arms. It was Open Arms Port Allegheny, which is in an even smaller town of like maybe 2,000 people. So now we're getting smaller. So I was able to pastor that church for about 2 years. And that transition was awesome. I enjoyed that. I thought I was still in my weight loss journey somewhat throughout that process. But it was good. Like I really felt close to the Lord during that time because you kind of had to be because you're leading a flock of people, right?
Yeah,
You're like, I better pursue this.
Yeah.
And what a responsibility that was. And
So did you feel like that was like a calling for you or just like a cool opportunity?
I think it was a calling in my life. I think God has a big calling on my life, and this will eventually transition us into where I'm at today, kind of figuring that out. But I stepped away from that leadership role over some stupid things, over some stupid ideas and stupid, less than best, I will say, over things that weren't the best to step away from. So in the midst.
At this point, you were married, right?
So I wasn't married at first, and then I got married several years into ministry.
While you were an associate pastor.
Yes. When I was associate pastor, I was married. Probably, I think I was 2 years into my marriage or a year into my marriage at that point. So we left town and went to Port Allegheny, left go Bradford and went to Port Allegheny. And then there we are leading a church. My ex-wife and I.
Yes.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yes.
Like, how crazy is this story? What happened there, right?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. But it was cool at the time. And God puts people in our lives, and
sure.
we learn from things. So yeah, here I am pastoring that church, and I step away because it just became complicated for me because here I was now having an emotional affair on my wife because I was so busy doing ministry, and that wasn't the only reason, but we were missing our intimacy in our lives at that point because I'm too busy serving in the church. I'm too busy giving people my attention over my wife at that time. And nobody deserves that, I mean,
For sure.
I think we can get so caught up in ministry and serving the Lord that we think we're doing him a favor. God doesn't need us. We're used by God, right? Like we're not the only answer. We're not the show.
Yeah.
He just he's the show. We want to be used by him. And so I just thought, no, this couldn't survive without me. And I was just really busy. We eventually kind of just drifted apart. I found my emotions through someone else who was a childhood friend. And I start texting her, and then we would have like emotional conversations. I would say some things that were very, very, very inappropriate to say. Not like sexual, but like more like I shouldn't be giving this over to someone else, like saying lovey things and things like that. We never met up, did anything like that, but it was getting pretty close. And so she eventually found out, which is good. I kind of told her. I think that's so vital. And that
is
really,
important. Yeah, you told on yourself. That is
good. Yes. But you think it would end there, but it didn't. A year passed and it started happening again, right? And it hurt her a lot. And I can see how, and I'd be really hurt too. We eventually dropped that, but I'm like, I can't, my heart wasn't in pastoral ministry much anymore, right? Because here we are, second year in, I'm like still doing it. I'm trying to lead people and I'm having a secret affair. That's an affair. You can say all you want to. I'm not doing anything sexually.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm like, I'm
It's
still
your heart.
emotionally connected to another person.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
know?
giving your
You're
all,
seeking comfort.
your entire affection.
And it makes me wonder if like the coping thing manifested in a different area.
Yeah. I mean,
You know what I mean?
it's crazy. Like I never thought about it that way, but I could see it. I mean, I'm always searching for something else to bring fulfillment to me. Like I wasn't satisfied. And I know that that's just another enemy attack in my life. Plus my boss that I had, he was a senior pastor of the church of Open Arms Community Church. Him and I, he was my mentor. I loved him. I still love him. Really good guy, grew to church. He loved Jesus so much. He's doing a lot of things now for the Lord, and it's really cool. But he ended up, him and I didn't feel good about working for him. And so because I was hurt by some of the things he said. So I harvested that stuff in and I wasn't mature enough and I wasn't confident enough to bring up how he's been offending me and hurting me.
Yeah.
He would say something like a type D personality and I'd be like, okay, instead of saying like, doesn't sit well with me, like, respectfully, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. So I step away because of this. I already felt like I'm just going to be real with my raw comments. I felt like trash.
Yeah.
I know that's not nice words to say, and I don't claim those over my life, but that's how I felt as an adjective over my life, right?
Yeah.
I felt very fake. I felt like a masquerade up there. I'm preaching in February, I'm preaching on a Valentine's marriage message, and here I am having an emotional affair. Like, how, like, God, why don't you just strike me dead at this point?
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
what am I doing? But he's just so good and has patience with us. And eventually, I ended up leaving and just stepping away and finding a job at Walmart and working there, moving back to Bradford from Port Allegheny. Port Allegheny people listening to this, you're like, oh my gosh, I did not know that about you. Well, now you do. I'm in Texas now. What are you going to do? No.
Surprise.
but props to you. There's a lot of pastors out there who will quit the job, disappear for 3 months, come back and do it again.
Yeah. Right.
And you just
with the same issue.
You chose to just take the L and just say it is what it is.
I couldn't. I mean, how can I lead people where I'm not going? That's
good, man.
And I was just having a problem. And so,
That's
and I also had a bitter
statement.
heart. Yeah. Like we have to be willing to, like, if we're going to take people with us, we at least got to be somewhat on their level. Like I can't have any skeletons in my closet. You're going to have issues, of course. We're not perfect people, but like a big thing like that, like having an emotional affair, we'll call it an affair, having an affair, having bitterness in my heart towards my boss. Like here I am, like my heart's just not in a good place. And so I didn't want to pervert the church because I'm the leader, I'm the guy, and they deserve better than that. Not that I couldn't be redeemed, not that I couldn't make a change, but I just wasn't there. And healing would have took a little bit. Well, I stepped away, started working at Walmart, then worked at a couple other places, found a full-time job at a plant in Bradford. And then I'm still married at this point. And all of a sudden, my wife at the time has an affair on me. Like, dun, 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 like she is training this guy who's a new hire. And I saw things happening, and I won't get into all that, but like, I just kind of believed the best. But she was secretly talking to this guy. And I'm like, wow. I found out at work, which was even more miserable. And so I was dumbfounded, man. Like I don't know.
Did y'all work together? Is that
we all worked the same place. I should have put that little detail in there. Thank you. So we worked at the same place. She got a job there first, and she's like, we're making decent money here. So I got a job there after that. That was my full-time job that I found. It was factory work, but it was good. It was good money. And so anyway, she trained this one guy, and then they ended up getting in a relationship, and then secretly for probably about a month or so. And then I'm like, this is weird.
While you were having the emotional affair at the same time,
it was
or was
after
it
that. It was after that. Yeah, it was probably like a year after that, roughly.
Gotcha.
So it's like kind of like you reap what you sow principle. And she used the same app I used to message this girl on the CC.
No.
Yeah, which I look back and I'm like, God, you have a great sense of humor here. Like, I don't say God caused that, but I'm saying He allowed that to happen because the principle in Scripture is very clear. You reap what you sow, right? And I was reaping what I was sowing in my marriage at that point. And I deserve that. Like, I don't look back at that. I look back at it today and I'm like, I can see it.
I had
see
that
why
coming.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, be a man, stand up and be like, yeah, I had that coming to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so she left. She was harsh about it. Like, okay.
Yeah.
But, we ended that. And cool story. Last year, I think she messaged me over Facebook, and like God gave me, I was praying for an opportunity to have closure, and she messaged me over Facebook, and like, we totally like just, and my current wife, beautiful, beautiful
Which
Kristen.
I love her.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She's originally from Texas, by the way. So
I love her so
yeah,
much.
she's great. And she's been a really good godsend in my life, and has helped me become a better person. But as I'm married to Kristen now, my ex-wife texted me and wanted to have closure. And so like, I was sharing all the messages with her, of course. 'Cause I want to be like,
Right.
here's my phone, do a
Yeah.
phone drop. Like we're not playing this game anymore. Like these are all like, you can take my phone anytime, look through it with, see who I'm texting, all the things. And that's really, really important. Very powerful, by the way, because
You
now
set
I'm just like,
Absolutely.
vulnerability
Yeah, it's
up
like, take
from
it.
the beginning of
Yeah.
of
I know my
your
weakness at
marriage
that
with
point.
Kristen.
I don't
Yeah.
want that to ever happen again.
Yeah.
So it was
But-
cool closure.
Well, I think too the good thing about that is if you make that choice, you don't have an accuser now.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You just don't.
100%.
And the devil can't say squat about you.
That's right.
It's all in the light.
The light is there. Like there's no little crevice of darkness there. And if there is, that needs exposed. And it's hard to expose it all. It really
Yeah.
is. But like, and part of me, like there's real temptations, of course, but like you have
sure.
to be so open and so vulnerable. You can't let the foothold take place at that current time.
Absolutely.
Like, you got to
Yeah.
just nip it right there, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that was cool closure. But anyway, fast forward, I don't know where we left off. We got divorced. Yeah, that came down to a divorce, and that was hard. And that began and I think this term is used so loosely anymore, but the reconstruction of who Justin is.
That's
Right.
good.
So I'm stripped from everything. I lost my house. I had dogs. I love those dogs. But I lost my car. I lost everything. My job. They fired me at the job because I created a hostile environment because I found out a job at work.
It's crazy. Did that affect your weight loss journey?
Yeah, I was
in the
gonna
midst
say,
of all those things.
What was your food relationship when all this stuff was crumbling?
I was depressed and I didn't eat. I actually didn't.
Were you
eat.
scared of eating?
I just didn't want. I was so down because I never thought what was happening in my life. What was happening at this time?
Yeah.
How did I go from being a pastor to all of a sudden a divorced man who lost everything? What
Man.
what just happened?
Yeah, it's like the
You know?
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, this is where David can swear. David, just no, I'm just kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
So what? Okay, so I know that you have mentioned that you are known for your weight loss story. And I don't even know if they can be compared, but what was harder? Your life falling apart or the being 800 pounds?
I think they both have a purpose in the pain, right?
Yeah.
They both have a pain that brought purpose to me. Just the intensity of having to lose the weight really was something that changed me as a person. I had to commit myself to something, and I had to do it. It was life or death. It made me appreciate who I was and my value system of who God was in my life and is. But the divorce, I think, if I didn't go through the weight loss, I don't know if I would have been as good going through the divorce. I think that prepared me, and it's that's the sovereignty of God. I feel like,
Or would you have been alive?
that's the other thing too.
Yeah.
Let's go. I could have avoided that divorce. What? No, Emily. What?
Stop, Justin.
What? Plot twist.
Okay, so what is something specifically with the weight loss, that journey? I know you were young, so you might not have had the best self-awareness, but if you can remember, what is something you learned about yourself?
Through the journey of losing weight,
Yes.
I learned that I could finally commit to something and stay at it. I think growing up, I never wanted to continue. When things got hard, I would withdraw. I still do that today sometimes.
Yeah.
I will, if something's hard, I'll just nope, I can't do this right now. And I know that's not the best way to do things. You might take a time out for a second,
Yeah.
but you don't have to stay timed out.
Yeah.
You can get out of that timeout
So
crate right now.
avoidance was your coping
I like
skill.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's feel like I'm in a counseling session right now. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Avoidance. I still do it.
It happens a lot.
Yeah. You guys are licensed therapists?
No, not at all.
No, we're just screwed up that we
That's
know how it
right.
goes.
Well, the thing is, we're just in therapy,
I
so
love
that's
it.
why we're
yeah,
able
that's
to.
so good. But yeah, I definitely would run from things. So, I feel like my weight loss story taught me to stay committed to something and show me that I had the strength to do it. When I say it's definitely a partnership with God. I
Right.
mean, that's a given.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever take a full credit of everything.
For sure.
For
It was
sure.
a hand-in-hand relationship that helped me do that. So yeah, I
He
learned
gave
that.
you the strength, and you did something with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm still doing something with it, right? And like I use it. We always use our brokenness to help other people become whole.
Right.
I think our passion is birthed out of our stories are birthed out of our brokenness. Our stories are birthed out of our success. And how we overcome something, right? That becomes a passion for us. And so here I am today. Like I help people lose weight. I help
Yeah.
people get healthier. I'm a motivator, and that's what I love to do. And God used that hard part of my life, the hard time, to help me become a sounding board of health to other people.
Yeah.
And I don't always preach it, but I live it, and I want to make sure people know that that's something that I do.
Yeah,
And I
also,
I'm sorry. I think it's also so divine, like divinely organized, that the Lord gave you a current spouse that is also very nutrient aware. I guess
She's a police officer with her nutrients. I call her the ingredient.
we've
cop.
experienced it.
Yeah,
I
she's
know.
But we loved it.
Yeah.
Because we went over your house. First time we went over your house, I mean, it was
She was trying.
it caught me off guard. I'm not
gluten-free
gonna lie,
granola.
but it worked out.
Yeah.
And it made me fully aware of a lot of things that I consumed. That I was like, oh, okay, I can do a different mayonnaise.
That's right.
Yeah.
So now
That's-
in our fridge we got olive oil mayonnaise.
That's right. There you go.
I got a big old tub of it. I don't use a. I mean, I love mayonnaise.
Shout out to mayonnaise.
Shout out to mayonnaise,
Yeah.
bro. Mayonnaise is of the
But
Lord.
that's also a lot of like allergy type stuff and
Yeah.
intolerances.
Yeah.
But still, it's still in that same boat
Right.
of like you make more conscious decisions.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
think that's so cool that the Lord
Oh, yeah.
allowed you to be married to someone that is also right there with you on that.
I love that. She's like the peanut butter to my jelly,
Yeah.
Wait, I'm the peanut butter. To her. And you know what I'm saying?
Either way.
But like, because I wasn't as ingredient
bread to your
conscious.
butter.
Yeah, she's all that. She really helped me identify, because I was like drinking diet soda, because I'm like, here I am, like I'm not eating like all this stuff, and I'm drinking diet
Yeah.
soda, and that's not really that good for you either.
Yeah.
And so
Aspartame,
she's
right?
like, that aspartame in there. You need to stop drinking that. Obviously, in her own Christian nice way.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all right, fine. And she helped me understand ingredients
Yeah.
more. So I took my relationship with food to another level. I was already extreme enough. Now I'm even more extreme.
yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well
but it's
add some more on there.
That's right.
but it's
So-
pretty pretty cool because you went, so now it's my turn.
Yeah.
Dag.
I know, right? I'll shut my mouth.
I'm here all night.
I'm just
Calm
playing.
down.
But it's pretty cool because we normally don't realize how much better we are once we meet the person that we end up committing ourselves to.
Yeah.
Are you
And
saying I made you a better person?
oh, absolutely. I don't
go.
I don't
Speaks
doubt
to me,
that one
babe.
bit.
Let's go.
I don't doubt that one bit. Oh, you were trying to get a pound from
I don't
Emily.
want
My
your,
bad.
I don't
No.
want your.
Don't touch me.
They
But-
can't see us. We were pounding across the table.
But
That's what
I
was
just
happening.
I love how your life from the moment you started your weight loss journey, your whole goal was to live a better life. And then you meet Kristen, and Kristen, in her perspective of food, helps level you up from where you were at and kind of helps bring some perspective to certain areas that maybe you didn't really pay attention to.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so I just think that in that same manner, in the way that the Holy Spirit partners with us to see certain aspects of our lives that we need to give up control of,
Yeah.
our spouses play that same exact role.
Yeah.
And I just love how the two and two work together, how just as much as the Holy Spirit can help us see things that we're not paying attention to, our spouses can also help in the way that they live their lives, can help us to see things differently.
She is so I feel like I'm wearing Pampers around her. Okay, like she loves Jesus. Like I'm in a redevelopment of my faith right now. Just to be real, like
Yeah.
I love Jesus. I'm still praying. I'm still doing my own thing with the
sure.
Bible and coming to church, all this stuff. I check the boxes, right?
Yeah.
But
You're still figuring some things out.
yeah, I'm figuring out who am I in the process. But she's like she's devoted, man. Like she preaches to me, and I'm like, shut up! I don't want to hear preaching. You're Pastor Kristen. What are you trying to do?
Yeah, love
like
it.
I get up, and sometimes I get a little like frustrated. Like, can you just stop? But she's like, Justin, that's all I know. She's like, what do you want from me? I'm like, just not that.
Should have bought a Roku.
Get out of here.
Hey,
Just cut him off. Just cut the
I
mic
know.
off.
I
Just
need
cut
to
it off.
just turn him off. No, just kidding.
Take two.
Just kidding.
Take two. No, it's true.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like she's right now she acts like the glue, you know, of the spiritual foundation of our home, and that's hard
yeah.
because like that's supposed to be like according to scripture that's my role,
Yeah.
right? Like that doesn't
Yeah.
mean she can't have the equal right to be, you know, the partner in the faith with me, but like I have a responsibility scripturally to lead my home as a man.
Hey, but you know what? She was a single mom boss babe.
That's right.
So she got it.
That's right. Yeah. She finally softened up. She still had some Miss Independence in her.
Right,
but,
right.
you know,
I still have trouble saying we instead of me. I'm always like, I'm going to my room. And he's like,
that's
excuse
my
me.
room too. Yeah.
Excuse me, but I live here too. I'm
Yeah.
like, my food,
Yeah.
my bathroom.
You can just say things, things David don't like.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
okay.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Like, it's mine. Yeah.
But that
I'm
might
not
be
gonna
only
comment. I'll
that
just
might
leave
be
there.
like only child syndrome for me.
That's
Yeah.
mainly
I
what it is.
Never had
Yeah.
to share anything a day in my life.
You're the mine child. Mine.
Mine,
that's how you-
mine. Yeah.
I get it.
I was gonna ask something.
I think he was trying to finish
Oh,
something
I'm sorry.
too.
Go ahead.
Was I? I don't remember what I was saying.
Well,
were-
let's just keep going. Let's just keep
Let's
going.
do it.
This is scattered. I love it. Let's go. This
I
is
love
organic.
it. You know, it's like bing, 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 bing. I feel like most people that listen to us have a similar train of thought, right? Like
Squirrel.
we're all a little ADD in here.
Yeah.
But
squirrel.
anyways, okay.
Squirrel.
Did
Jeez.
you ever get it? Because losing that weight at such a young age, you didn't do that with diet culture.
No. We should
So-
probably talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about diet
Let's talk
culture,
about
bro.
diet
Yeah.
culture.
Let's talk
about-
about.
Justin
So,
did this.
because you like, sometimes it works for certain people, but you're not going to lose 600 pounds
Right.
in a diet culture mindset.
Right.
And so let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Just
Let-
the practical.
Let's talk about the big people who keep saying, "I need to love myself just the way I am,"
Ooh.
but that's not exactly a very healthy mindset.
All right. Listen, big people. Listen.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but so that is an unhealthy mindset. God didn't create us to be people who don't take care of themselves.
Point blank. Period.
I mean, He gave us a body that we dwell in. I mean, our spirit man lives in our body, right? And we are to take care of this temple that He's created, and it's our act of worship to Him to take care of ourselves. Now, some of
good.
it's skewed. Some of it is we're having issues. Some of it is we have an addiction. Some of it is we need to develop a care for our bodies that He's given us and the gift He's given us, and that's a process. But once we figure that out and we know, we should be convicted enough to like really pursue taking care of ourselves, and that can look different for everyone. That can be, hey, I'm going to eat healthier. That might not mean weight loss. That might just be eating healthier, drinking less soda. That might just mean like, I'm just going to honor God what I do when I go for my steps, when I go for my walk, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be like diet culture related. Like you have to be a certain size. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. I want to have less brain fog,
Yeah.
you know?
You want the,
Yeah.
we call them non-scale victories, right? We want those things outside of the
That's good.
scale that we want to. And I honestly, I'm a big believer. And if you have a healthy mindset with this stuff and a healthy spirit, your body does become lined up to that, right? And so it just comes to a transformation process that's just not overnight, but it's developed as you, after you know, you have no excuse, you know, and that hurts sometimes, right? But we have a responsibility to do this thing. So how I did this.
Yeah. How do you feel free
Yeah.
in your weight loss journey?
Oh my gosh. I did so many things to get to where I'm at today.
Yeah.
So I tried, everybody knows keto. The
Keto,
diet. Keto.
bacon all day.
Oh, let's go.
Bacon
Butter.
grease.
Yep. Drink it down. No, that's terrible. I would never drink down bacon grease.
No,
But maybe for
absolutely
like
not.
$100, I may try. I don't
Right.
know.
I mean,
Anyway,
twist
a
my
little
arm
sip.
or something. You know? No, I'm just kidding.
200. So no, I tried keto. I tried paleo. I tried diet pills. I've like Stacker 2 and Stacker 3. And I've tried like apple cider vinegar. I've done Slim Fast.
Intermittent
I've done-
fasting.
Intermittent fasting? Yeah, intermittent fasting. I mean, I've done all that. I've
Yeah.
tried it all. And truthfully, they all work. They all can work. Because what's the big deal about all these different methods is you're moving more and eating a little healthier, right? And yeah, you're going to lose weight that way, unless you have a condition, of course, that might spark some differences there. But I finally found the rhythm where I'm like, I just want to eat healthy. I just want to eat God-given foods, and I want to have self-control.
Whole foods.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah.
So I don't stop. I was, carbohydrates were the enemy back in the day. Well, first off, fat. I did everything low fat at first, which was cardboard and water.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this? Like, no flavor? Like, are you kidding me? So it was like Triscuits, and water. Like, oh, I'm so good. This is amazing. I lost weight on that.
Yeah.
I cut calories, right? But I transitioned after that to keto, which I'm like, I love it. Eggs, meat, steak, sausage, hot dogs. Let's go. And I still lost weight on that. But then, I watched my friends eat fruit, and I'm like,
oh my God.
Watermelon?
I love me a good strawberry.
Oh, let's go. Watermelon, apples, all the fruits, banana. I'm like, me want some of that.
Peanuts. Peanuts are fruit.
Peanuts are a fruit?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. It's not a specialty. It's a legume, actually. It's a legume. Yeah, it's close. I mean, A for effort.
So I legume.
I do have a question too.
Yeah.
I do have a question too, but I can hold on. I can wait. I'm a patient man.
So
guy.
what I do today is I eat whole foods. We'll leave it at that.
Gotcha.
Just whole food
like
moderation.
grains?
Yep. I don't eat much grains, but I eat fruits, vegetables. I eat sweet potatoes, regular potatoes. I'll eat some rice. I don't like rice that much, but I'll eat it. I'll eat a lot of protein. Give me that chicken. Give me that fish. Give me that all those things.
Shrimp.
Yeah, I'll take some shrimp all day. Eggs are all right. Let's get the shrimp. Let's get the egg prices down a little bit. Okay?
Yeah, right.
Whoever's in charge of this.
Why do you think I got chicks? I'm playing the long game here.
I like that. It's investment.
So I don't know if you know this about me, Justin, but I did macros for 3 years. And I lost 40, 50 pounds on that. But one thing I realized, there was freedom in that for me because I could choose what I wanted. But one of the main things I learned is protein can't do the same that fat can do.
Correct.
Fat can't do the same that carbs can do. So you need all of it.
Preach.
You don't just need to derive yourself of a macronutrient. It's called a macronutrient. So there is some sort of nutrient in carbs or in fat, And so I didn't really get into micros as much. Just that's really tedious, But I was eating a ton of protein, just shrimp, mixing collagen powder into things. And, I did that today. I had lima beans and rice, and I mixed in 20 grams of unflavored collagen protein.
You had lima beans and rice?
Yeah.
Shout out to you and your stomach.
Texans.
No, but it was so good, though. It was so good. Got some
great
salt
for
and
you.
pepper in there. I mean, I might pay for it later, but you know what?
We'll throw some
David's gonna
collagen
pay.
and mac and cheese.
But
Yeah.
it was just like that. I benefited so much more mentally from that. And I was kind of the same. I've never stuck through something. And it was like I did this for 3 years. I did the MyFitnessPal. I tracked my food every day for 3 years. Through, what is that? 3 holiday seasons, 3, all of it.
That's like award-winning right there.
I was so proud of myself, and I still am.
Yeah.
But the cool thing was I did not feel trapped because I had choices. I could either have like a bagel with cream cheese or a ginger ale. So it's like one day if I really wanted a ginger ale, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna drink these carbs today.
Yeah.
But sometimes the other one went out of like, oh, I can have a whole
especially if
spread
you're
of
hungry,
food,
right? If you're hungry, you're like, I'm going in for something different.
Yeah. And so that one, but I will say the second I stopped, I gained 50 plus pounds, and it's like gradually everything I had learned just went out the window. And we got married. We were broke married people. We were eating for convenience. We had mac and cheese. Now I will say I mixed in protein powder in my mac and cheese, in my ketchup.
Yep.
Smart. Anywhere I could get it, I tried. But it was processed foods, what we could afford. And it goes back to that issue that you talked about with just our state.
Yeah.
And so I do feel a lot of shame for that, but who I was working with at the time, me and David were going to try to start trying to have a baby, and I was in too much of a deficit. And so she was like, hey, we need to get you out of this deficit. And that's when I was like, say no more. I'm out of this deficit, But then now I have doctors on the other end saying, you're not getting pregnant because you need to lose weight. And I'm like, but I also wasn't getting pregnant when I was 50 pounds smaller, And so I don't really know exactly where I'm going with this train of thought. It's just kind of my experience with something nutrition-wise.
Yeah.
And
I think,
mind you, this was like 0 workout. I lost 50 pounds.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I mean, 10,000 steps still,
Sure.
but
Sure. No, that's good. And being health conscious is going to do that. And I don't think there's an actual, this is the only way, but it's kind of like, and I don't want to say whatever works for you either, because there could be some unhealthy things people do. But
Yeah.
I'm all about that whole food mentality, like kind of going with the macro thing, right? I really do believe that you should have healthy fats. Like, come on, give me the guac all day long.
Yes.
Guacamole is good for you and it's
Yes.
good, right? So, that's a healthy fat. So go ahead and eat that. Give me some of that chicken fajitas. Fajitas are great. Like you're getting all sorts of food groups with that, right? Corn tortillas. You can make anyway. So we're getting
just
hungry.
get the Kerrygold butter.
We're getting hungry.
Just just cook your steak with butter. It'll be
right.
fine.
That's right.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Just moderation. Like we gotta have the hunger cues. Like be hungry and be satisfied and content when you start eating some smaller portions. It's there's a time to feast. There's a time just to eat. Like like you just need to eat just to have fuel.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I did want to talk about something that, because you are I guess you could say you are a nutrition coach, and you are as well a fitness coach, but you also believe in the Lord, and you also have faith in God. Yeah. And I think a lot of people struggle with regulating those things to where I know I have lots of conversations with a lot of young people who are into working out, and it seems like that is it's such a priority to them that they can't pay attention to anything else but that.
Yeah.
And so I guess my question is, did you ever get to that point in your weight loss journey where you felt like that was way more important to you than prioritizing your relationship with God?
Yeah. Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
I ended up
100%. You have been there?
I have been there.
Yeah.
And I just recently got out of that. I use exercise as an idol because I want to put things in my own hands.
Yeah.
It went beyond an act of worship. Now it became I'm going to take this in my own hands and do my own thing. And I just want to look good. And I just want to do that. Nothing wrong with wanting to look good. Nothing wrong with wanting to take care of yourself.
For sure.
It's just good to exercise, but it never should take part or take place of your relationship with God. It never should put you in charge as God of your life. My motivator was, I don't want to die early, so I'm going to go exercise. Like God, yes, we're supposed to exercise, but God holds those days beginning to end, right? He knows when that last day is going to be. And so I had to transition out of that 2 years ago, roughly, is when that recently happened. Like I had to say, this is an act of worship. I have to know that, and I'm not going to overstrain myself, and I was hurting myself, man. I was like, give me 2 to 3 hours of cardio. Get me, let me do all this stuff. Like, where am I finding the time for that? Number one, how can you maintain that? Number two, and thirdly, it's like, that's not good for you.
Yeah.
So unless you're an athlete who's eating everything, and you have a trainer or something, like they can train you through that, and you can get the right nutrients for that, have at it. But for the average Joe like me, it's like, nah, that's not healthy. But yeah, I had to get out of that mindset.
Yeah, because I do feel like there is nowadays, because the fitness culture is so huge and for good reasons, right? But I do feel like a lot of people don't know how to find a balance with it. No. And the reason why I say that is because, again, I've had conversations with some guys younger than me who are very well fit and who do work out a lot. And I'll have conversations about, I want to get back into losing weight again. I want to get back into feeling better about myself. And the conversations are always, and these are people who attend church and who love the Lord.
Yeah.
But the moment that that becomes the topic of conversation, it's you gotta think, breathe, sleep, dream, gym. That's gotta be your very
mad at yourself.
You gotta be so fully devoted, so fully dedicated. You gotta want this so badly that I'm like, when I talk about life, there is no conversation there.
You have to know your audience who's talking to you about things too. Like there's always going to be a difference with a single person, a young person versus a person who's been married or a person who has a family. Like that's not you can't.
Or even someone with like a health condition, you know, is going to be much more gentle with themselves when it comes to. Yeah,
of course. I think I think it's a lot of vein in like when it comes to our looks and stuff like that. Like I think people tend to partner how you look with fitness, and it's not always true. I think there's a lot of focus on how we look, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
My heart is right now like, I want to look like I have some muscle. Yeah, that's great. But it's not my primary thought process anymore. It's like, I just want to be healthy. I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good dad. I want to be a good friend. I want to be a good example. And that means like, I'm not going to live in a gym all day long. You know? I have my commitment. I'm done. That's it.
Yeah. So speaking of being in the gym, I assume you've been in a gym setting a lot in your life.
Absolutely.
This is something that David has expressed to me, but what do you do when you're working out and I love women. I am pro women. What happens?
You already know where this is going.
When they're half naked and they're squatting in front of you. What do you do?
Oh my gosh.
You know, like with David's perspective, someone who has struggled with just
lust,
pornography, like he is a little hesitant to go to the gym. You know, he's been the past few weeks, but I think has a little anxiety surrounding it.
Sure, that's normal. So it's not easy, and I got blasted on Facebook over this when I made a comment one time. So I try to be very careful.
Like I said, we love women, okay, but some of these men in here got some issues,
right? And I want to speak as a man too. I have responsibility to take care of my eyes, right? My eyes don't control me; I control my eyes, right? And that's something I have to take ownership of. So when I see someone like that, like. When I see one time, I have to make sure I'm keeping my head forward because I know where my head's going to go back to and I know what my thoughts think, right?
I think even as a woman, my head goes there.
Well, yeah, you're like, this is not normal. Like, you shouldn't be wearing that in public. Like, what are you doing? Sometimes I look at things in disgust, actually. Like, I'll be real. I look twice and I'm like, why are you wearing that out here? That's like, seriously? And, call me gay, whatever. But like, I just like, I see that and I'm like, okay, like you shouldn't be wearing that. Like, my flesh, would like that.
That's like dad mode right there. Exactly. Like your dad mode.
I'm kind of appalled sometimes.
Yeah.
But then I had the responsibility. They don't know Jesus, right? So like, I can't put a judgment upon them to say like, how dare you? Like, they don't know. If they weren't loved by God, if they don't feel loved by God, I should say, they're always loved by God. But if they don't have that relationship with Him, they're not going to value themselves enough to cover up a little bit more or treat their bodies with respect and out there. And fellas need to know their identity and know that it doesn't come from that girl. It doesn't come from that. Like 100%. I keep my eyes on the Savior.
It's like, as I'm thinking here now, it's also like women aren't dressing like that to attract. Some
I didn't know that. Okay, let's see. I want to hear this because like I kind of wrestle like why?
Yeah. I feel like some girls probably do, right? They probably do like the attention of men, but also I think they want to see their physique and what needs work, how sculpted, how toned, like, like I think about that. Like if I had this like fit little body and I was really working on like muscle building, I would want to see, And so I also want to give the benefit of the doubt. Like maybe that's something that's going through the thoughts of some girls that are out there like that. Like if they're actually into fitness, you can tell, Yeah. But so that's, same thing with men and abs.
I was going to say, like, I want to transition that too. Yeah. And like our guys, like I see so many guys wearing these shorter shorts now because they have quads,
booty shorts is what they are.
They're almost exactly. I'm like
they clapping while they walking.
That's pretty much. So I'm like, bro, why are we wearing that? And why you're wearing that. Like you're probably into yourself. or you're just trying to get attention. Like that's my primary thoughts. And sorry if I'm judging on that, but I just feel like that's, as a man, as a human, I think we all crave attention.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
Absolutely.
how are we going to find that? Well, let's dress a certain way to bring attention. And I would just say, like, let's have some self-control with our eyes. But if you're out there listening and you're like, how can I honor God? Honor God with how you dress. I mean, then there's less likelihood of other people, engaging in that. So
Yeah.
And also, like for the men out there, just find a different spot of the gym.
that's it. Yeah, you're asking that. Exactly. I've had to
find
do
a
that.
different,
do
because,
that.
we can't put, like you said, like it's not all on the woman.
Correct.
They may or may not be wearing stuff like that for attention. It might just be more of like a practical thing. Men, just if you struggle with that, just go to another side of the gym.
Yep. And you can always close your eyes as you're working out too.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong
very
with that.
true.
Yeah.
I've done that. I'm
Lifting
like,
weights,
okay,
just-
she's right there. She's right there.
Yeah.
Like, okay, she's right there. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish my set, put it down, and I can walk away and go somewhere else.
But I want to talk about, because what you said was very true about just committing, just in a sense consecrating your eyes.
Yeah.
That's something that I've learned is you don't like we have this notion of I want to consecrate myself to the Lord, but sometimes we don't realize that we can consecrate our eyes to ourselves.
That's good.
Right. Yeah. And for me, what I've been practicing is before I walk into the gym, I have a conversation with myself. I'm not here to look at people.
Yeah.
I'm here to play a role in transforming my life.
Yeah.
And every time that I'm in there, when I want to get to the treadmill and there's a couple of girls, I will walk the extra half a mile to the other side of the gym where it's empty.
To not pass that. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'd rather be over there than to be in the midst of the people.
Yeah.
And each and every day before I walk into the gym, I have to, as annoying and as repetitive and as irritating it is. I think in the last episode, we were just kind of talking that for right now in this season of my life, I don't trust myself. So I have to take measures. I have to take steps, even to the point that I have to have those conversations with myself to say, you are not here for that.
Yep.
And it's almost like I talk to my flesh. Like you are not here for this.
We have authority over that.
We have authority over it. And so again, just to kind of what we talked about, we take every thought captive, right? And we submit it to the word of the Lord. I talk to myself as if I'm talking to my own sin.
Yep.
And I tell myself, you are not here for that. That is not your focus. Your focus is to have a healthier life so that you can have sex with your wife. Your point, your place here is to begin a health journey so that you can run with your kids, so that you could even have kids. I have
Get on
to
the floor and play,
And sometimes, and a lot of people might be like, that's kind of extreme. Well, sometimes I got to take extreme measures in order for me to get to a place where I don't have to be like that anymore.
That's really good.
That's
good, David. Yeah, I think there's so much truth to that, and I think we would. I think that would be something that everyone should practice. Especially if you're trying to honor God with your eyes, with anything, right? Even over food. Sometimes I'll speak over food, like, no, you don't control me.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
it's funny.
That's so
and it looks
true,
like
man.
you're like need to go to a psych ward or something. But
Hey, that's good.
yeah, it's
actually.
power because it brings the authority to you.
Yeah, and
right?
you hear,
Yeah.
and that's a way that you what's the faith comes by hearing,
Yeah.
and hearing the word of God. Like if you can hear it with your ears, you saying like, "Hey, you don't control me."
Yeah.
It like brings it to the front of your mind.
It's like a psychological thing. It's
It's
amazing when that happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the gym
I'm gonna
life.
start doing that. Be like holding
I
this
need to start
bluebell
doing
ice
that.
cream. You do not control me, but I am gonna eat you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But in my process right now, I know we're probably getting pressed for time, but my process at this current time is really rebuilding who Justin is. Like, I feel like I am stuck in a car with the wheels turning and going deeper into the mud right now because I feel this potential. I know God's called me. I don't think his calling is irrevocable. Scripture says, right?
Yeah.
So there's a part of me like, I know I'm made for more. I know there's more than this. And I'm not saying I have to be on main stages everywhere. I'm not saying that's what the calling is. I'm saying like, I just don't know what the ultimate, like, what's the plan for Justin's life? What is God going to do with this story? that he's given me. And if you don't feel like you're living out your fullest potential, I think we all can feel that way.
Right.
It's like, I'm just trying to figure that out. Is it to be an author? Is it to be an author and a podcaster? Is it to be a public speaker? Is it to be I can ask all these things. I'm doing all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think sometimes we put monetary wealth in the process of success, right? And so like, I'm not making money off that, and so does that mean it's a failure? That am I not sitting am I not in my lane because money's not coming from that, And
my first thought now was whenever you said that, of like, you're living in the perfect will of God for your life right now. Like,
trying to figure it out.
Like this, where you are in this season is the perfect will of God for your life right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's not the like destination place.
It's like a faith walk, trying to like walk through that with him. Like
that's the will of God, is for you to walk with him.
Yeah.
I think too, I want to.
It's like there's not an alternate reality right now where God wants you to be versus where you are.
Right. That's good.
And I definitely want to add to that, because this is something that I feel like the Holy Spirit gave me a while back earlier in the episode, is that I don't think you realize that every time you help someone through a health journey, you're also helping them, reminding them you can love yourself again.
That's good. Yeah.
And you are prophetically doing that by what you do today.
I'd call it marketplace ministry.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That hits.
Yeah.
That slaps.
Slap,
as the kids say.
Or that ate.
Yeah.
You ate that.
We were going too far.
But it's true. You're not just helping people lose weight. You're helping them remind themselves you can love yourself again.
And regain so much that was taken from their life. Whether it was self-inflicted or the enemy trying to steal, kill, and destroy.
Yeah.
Because we don't realize that a lot of the things that God calls us to do, or a lot of the things that we choose to go on a journey, we're prophetically declaring something. We're instilling something that was never there, or we're taking back something that was taken from us. And sometimes we don't realize that we're prophetically doing that, subconsciously doing that, and I think that's only because it's the inner working of the Holy Spirit working through you in the things that you are passionate for. Yeah. And so.
Yeah, that's good. And they wrestle sometimes with the thought of I'm not worthy of this, right? Like, is this something? And I wrestle with that. Like, I struggle right now with, and I'm just being real people right now. Like, I struggle seeing my value sometimes. I'm living in a new state from Pennsylvania. I lost I still have my contact, my friends, but I don't have friends much. I isolate myself because it's hard to make new relationships. As a pastor, I had to be at everything. And I actually want to withdraw now. I don't want to be at everything. I don't want to be around people like I need to be. So I want to be isolated somewhat. Our wives, David, have to get me to get with you sometimes, right? You're a cool dude. Like, you're a good,
we have to coordinate play dates.
Like, seriously, like I love being around you. I think that's great. You're a good bro. But the ambition to do that, I don't have.
Yeah.
And it's not like I don't like you. It's simply like, I get lazy, I guess, or I don't feel it's valuable, or I don't know. Cause I think I was burnt out by it in the past.
But that's what came to mind right now, is that you're burnt out by it.
Yeah.
And you don't know. And maybe there's an internal sense of, I don't know if I could go back to that.
Maybe.
And be okay.
That makes perfect sense, but you got to fight that. You can't just I can't settle for that. And I've been slowly trying to I think I've been in Calvary for 2 years now. I think I'm slowly I think I know 4 or 5 guys now, which is not much, but it's still something that I'm moving forward in. But it's all this reconstruction stuff, what do I believe about church, what I believe about God, right? And I know the foundations of Jesus, I know the foundations of Scripture, I believe those. But even the healing process, I used to believe God wants everyone healed right. God's going to heal you right now if I lay my hands on you right now. I believe He can do that.
Yeah.
But I also have to understand now, He's also has other. Sometimes there's plans that people are going through this for a season, for a reason. Maybe
do they have to walk through suffering?
But that made me back in the day. I was this zealous Christian guy where I'm like, no, we are praying over you and you are healed.
Yeah,
nope,
zero
what? You
suffering.
don't feel good yet? I'm praying over you again. That was that stuff.
I relate with that.
Yeah.
It's like we wanted to see the fruit of what we did right then.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, I think about a lot of preachers that their message, they want people to be saved at the end of their message. When we don't realize sometimes people get saved 90 days after your message.
It could be a slow brew. Yeah.
And sometimes
or in a hospital room weighing 799 pounds.
Right.
You know, like,
and we want to see the difference now, but God is like, no, this is because God honors the small beginnings, you know? And so I think that sometimes we want results now, but the longevity of the journey that you walk through, like I always remind a lot of younger guys that I mentor and disciple. I always say the steps that you take now, make small steps. Don't take drastic steps. Take small steps, one step at a time, right? Because one day, 10 years down the line, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, whoa, I walked that far.
Yeah. It's like microwave. We want microwave, but it's really, it's crock pot, slow cook.
Exactly.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And if we were to practice our faith in Christ through small steps, then we will get to the point where we're before the throne of Christ. And Christ is going to say, where are your fruits? And you're going to turn behind you and you're going to see the legacy of people behind you.
Yeah.
Because you didn't choose to take drastic, big steps. You chose to take small faith steps.
Just faithfulness, you know?
That's good.
Like, okay, so before me and David start preaching for an hour.
Yeah, because that's typically what ends up happening.
Yeah, I can feel it. I can feel it brewing up. But you know what? Like,
I already got 5 verses now.
We record every week, so we can let out some of this energy next week too. But I wanted to see just any like final statements,
like
encouragement for our listeners.
Yeah.
And also, I want to put the plug in here that if you really enjoyed this and you want to learn more about Justin and just talk more about topics like this.
And his co-host George as well.
Shout out to George.
Shout out to
What
George.
up, George.
Which we didn't get to really talk about the podcast because that's a very prevalent thing.
It is. It's
right
it's
now.
But they can
of,
listen.
Yeah.
Like, this is the call. Like, go follow, go like, subscribe. Like, see him in his element.
Yeah, it's really good. No, thank you for that. Yeah,
600 pounds down.
600 pounds down was birthed out of my weight loss story.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. Encouragement for people. Man, there's so much. I mean, there's like a plethora of things I could pick from right now, right?
Right.
But like, you know, I think the biggest thing is, you know, we have to understand that I think some of us feel like we have to wait to take care of ourselves later. I think we think we're invincible, that nothing's wrong with us. We're fine. We're healthy. And we still continue to eat unhealthy, maybe not move our bodies and things like that. You know, we're still doing our things. We're still stopping at Starbucks and grabbing our Frappa Lappa Chappa, whatever they're called. Like, you know, it's like those things, those white girl drinks.
I mean,
yeah, you know,
you ain't wrong.
That's right. That's right. I'm married to a white girl, so, you know,
Yeah.
I know what they like. So anyway, you know, we don't know the time, you know, and we've been given a time right now, a presence where we should acknowledge that, you know what, we can do our part and we can start now. Why wait until there's something that comes up like high blood pressure or issues like heart disease or cancers? Why do we wait until we get some kind of prognosis, right? Why don't we start today? If we recognize that we are created in the image of God, in his likeness and image, and we are made on purpose and for a purpose, he wants to do something in our lives. So we need to take care of that vessel that he's given us. And so I really feel like we as Christians, if you're a non-Christian, same thing. Like, your body's a gift, and just acknowledge that it could be a gift. And you know what? Even if you don't believe in God, just know that you're here for you're not here just to entertain yourself and do what you want to do in life. Like, you have a purpose in this life, and you should take care of yourself, right? So just take care of yourself. As a Christian, we need to do that. We need to honor God with our body. We need to start slow, start with small steps, and don't feel like me, I think back in the past, I think people think, I tried everything, it's not going to work for me. Don't try everything. Just try doing the natural whole approach. Like, get up and move your body.
It doesn't have to be an all or nothing.
No.
You know?
No. Get up and move your body. Get up and just drink more water instead of drinking soda.
And you know what? If you can't get up and move your body, they have YouTube videos for couch fitness.
That's right.
Like, you can sit on the couch and do a fitness video on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody can avoid soda. You can switch that out for something else, right?
Yeah.
You can go for other, just replace things.
Whatever
right?
it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Park
Start
at the
honoring-
back of the parking lot.
That's right. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
That's an easy one. Not so easy if you're pressed for time, but
right.
But yeah, just start somewhere. Honor God with your body. It's a gift, and treat it as a gift. You know, when somebody gives me a gift, I'm not going to just like trash it and step on it and throw it away. I'm going to honor that. I'm going
That's
to look
good.
at that. I'm going to keep it, even if I don't necessarily like it.
Right.
I'm going to learn to like it. I don't have to like who I am right now, but I'm going to learn how to like myself. I'm going to learn
Yeah.
how to take care of myself.
And you just feel so much better mentally
Yeah.
when you're investing in yourself and
Love
you're
that.
making good choices for yourself. You just feel better.
Exactly.
Even if there's not signs yet. Even if there's not what am I trying to say?
You don't see results in front of you yet.
Results. Even if there's not results yet, just the fact that you're doing something good for yourself is a result.
Exactly.
So everyone repeat after me. I can do hard things.
I can
do hard things.
hard things.
It's very awkward to do that,
That's
I
right.
can do hard things.
but I can do.
I
hard
can
things.
do hard things. So that's my motto. And Justin, we just thank you so much.
And
we love you.
My last question is: do you endorse zero sugar sodas
Ugh,
like Coke Zero?
Do you really want to know?
he does.
I
Is
do
that
not.
your
I
guilty
do
pleasure?
not. Kristen will kill me if I go home to her after this and say yes. No, just kidding. I do not.
Okay.
Your aspartame, your sucralose,
All right.
nada.
Not
Stevia,
good.
monk fruit,
Oh, yeah.
allulose. Let's
Hey,
go.
I have some monk fruit at the house and some stevia at the house.
Let's go. See?
Thank y'all for watching.
Yeah.
And
David's like, well, crap. I was getting a Coke Zero.
we
after
love y'all
this.
so much.
Well, thank you, Justin, for
Thank you,
coming. Thank
Dave.
you for
Thank
your
you so much.
vulnerability and just your openness to share your story for probably the 1,000th time. And to all of our listeners, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, follow, all the things.
All the things.
And we love you guys, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.